For more than half a century, astronomers have used increasingly advanced instruments to explore the universe in search of answers about its structure, origins, and the possibility of life beyond Earth. The James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, launched in December 2021, represents the most powerful tool yet developed for this purpose. Its infrared capabilities allow it to detect faint heat signatures and light from the earliest galaxies, as well as analyze the composition of distant objects with unprecedented precision. While its mission has largely focused on studying exoplanets and early cosmic evolution, one recent observation has generated unusual scientific attention. The object in question, designated 3I Atlas, appears to exhibit characteristics that do not fit any known category of natural celestial bodies. 3I Atlas was first identified as a small, fast-moving object entering the solar system from interstellar space. It is the third confirmed interstellar object ever observed, following Oumuamua and 2I Borisov. Initially, Atlas appeared consistent with expectations for a comet or asteroid passing through from another star system. However, as data accumulated from JWST and other observatories, several anomalies began to appear. The object emitted heat rather than merely reflecting sunlight, suggesting an internal energy source. More unusually, this thermal emission occurred in regular, repeating intervals rather than in random bursts. In nature, comets release heat and gas irregularly as ice sublimates near the sun. A fixed rhythmic pattern of heat emission does not correspond to any known natural process. Infrared and photometric analyses indicated that 3I Atlas was producing a structured thermal pulse at consistent intervals. When scientists examined the object's light spectrum, they found that it was not scattered or diffused as expected from a rough surface. Instead, it appeared focused into narrow bands of energy, resembling signals used in human-made communications technologies, such as lasers and radio transmitters. These narrow band emissions prompted some to suggest that the object might be generating coherent radiation, an effect rarely observed outside artificial systems. The data did not match any known astrophysical source, such as pulsars, quasars, or neutron stars, all of which produce characteristic emission patterns that differ substantially from those recorded. The possibility that 3I Atlas might be an active or artificial object gained further attention when the telescope recorded a sudden increase in brightness, about 40%, over a period of less than 2 minutes. Simultaneously, its trajectory shifted slightly, deviating from the expected gravitational path. Calculations showed that the change was not random, but appeared to correct its movement in a deliberate way. Natural forces such as outgassing can alter a comet's course, but the magnitude and symmetry of the shift in this case were inconsistent with that explanation. The new path aligned more closely with the inner planets of the solar system, though still on a course that would not result in direct contact with Earth. Subsequent spectral decomposition performed by teams at NASA and the European Space Agency revealed further irregularities. Within the light signature of 3I Atlas, researchers detected resonance patterns similar to those associated with biological systems on Earth. These fluctuations were not evidence of DNA or organic tissue, but displayed energy behaviors consistent with processes found in living matter, such as periodic oscillations in chemical or cellular systems. The finding led to speculation that the object could contain self-regulating components, potentially integrating biological and mechanical properties. While highly speculative, the data indicated that 3I Atlas was not behaving like an inert mass of rock and ice.
In the weeks following these observations, the emissions from Atlas diminished, its heat output stabilized at a lower level, and its pulsing signal weakened. Despite this decline in apparent activity, its motion remained steady, suggesting that it continued to travel with controlled precision, rather than being subject to random gravitational drift. Some researchers hypothesized that the reduction in emissions might represent an adaptive phase, such as an energy conservation or low visibility state. Others cautioned that the change could simply be due to distance or instrumental sensitivity. But the timing of the decrease, immediately after the object was studied intensively, was considered noteworthy. Around the same time, magnetic monitoring stations on Earth recorded subtle fluctuations in the planet's electromagnetic field, particularly in regions of known instability, such as the South Atlantic anomaly. These disturbances did not correspond to solar storms or known cosmic events, and appeared to follow the same timing pattern as changes in 3I Atlas's output. Although the correlation does not prove causation, it raised the possibility that the object's emissions were interacting with Earth's magnetic environment. The phenomenon has no precedent in the study of interstellar or solar system objects. The growing number of unexplained features led to a range of hypotheses. One proposal suggested that 3I Atlas could be a probe or artifact of non-terrestrial origin, potentially self-regulating and capable of interstellar travel. Another interpretation viewed it as a natural but highly unusual formation, perhaps incorporating unknown physical mechanisms. A minority of researchers put forward the idea that Atlas might represent a form of non-carbon-based life, a structure in which consciousness or adaptive behavior emerges from electromagnetic or plasma interactions rather than biochemical processes. These ideas remain speculative and controversial, but continue to be discussed because the observed data do not fully conform to existing physical models. Additional evidence supporting the artificial hypothesis emerged when a small fragment separated from the main object. Analysis of this fragment indicated an unusual geometry, smooth, planar surfaces forming right angles and symmetrical shapes. Such structures are not typical of naturally fragmented rock or ice. The material's composition also differed from known meteorites and emitted almost no measurable heat or radiation. Its light absorption properties suggested an unknown alloy or composite capable of capturing electromagnetic energy without re-emission, a characteristic associated with engineered materials designed for stealth or high efficiency. The rotational behavior of 3I Atlas provided another unexplained observation. The object's spin rate varied according to mathematical constants, including pi, the golden ratio, and sequences of prime numbers. These ratios appeared repeatedly in measurements of its rotation period and light fluctuations. In natural context, this precision is unprecedented. Some researchers interpreted this as a potential form of encoding, an intentional use of mathematical universals as a signaling method. Others argued that the correlations could be coincidental or the result of observational bias. Nevertheless, the consistency of the data has kept the discussion open. Another discovery added to the complexity. In the diffuse material trailing behind Atlas, JWST detected chemical signatures corresponding to organic precursors, simple carbon-based molecules capable of forming more complex biological structures. These compounds also exhibited replicating patterns, suggesting that they could self-organize under certain conditions. Two explanations were proposed. The first is that the materials serve as camouflage, a biological or chemical layer that gives the object a natural appearance. The second, more speculative explanation is that the material is intentional, functioning as a delivery system for spreading biological building blocks across planets. This aligns with the theory of directed panspermia, which posits that life may be seeded throughout the galaxy by advanced mechanisms. Efforts to establish communication with the object have been limited but notable. Using the Deep Space Network, scientists transmitted a series of mathematically encoded radio pulses toward Atlas, structured around prime numbers and binary sequences. No direct reply was detected. However, 1 hour after the final transmission, the object's rotation changed by a measurable but minimal amount. Whether this represents a response or a coincidence is uncertain. The phenomenon has been described as conscious non-communication, in which an entity acknowledges detection without engaging further. Historical astronomical surveys provided additional context. Archival data revealed faint anomalies along the same trajectory as 3I Atlas, dating back several decades. Infrared irregularities were recorded in 1987, 1998, and 2013, each roughly aligned with the object's current path. These events also coincided with unexplained bursts of radioactivity and minor gravitational disturbances. The alignment suggests that the object or something similar may have entered the solar system multiple times. If so, its periodic reappearances could represent a deliberate observational cycle. Revised orbital calculations indicate that 3I Atlas is not heading directly toward Earth or the Sun. Instead, its path will likely bring it into proximity with Jupiter's moon Europa and possibly Saturn's moon Enceladus on future passes. Both moons contain subsurface oceans and are considered promising environments for microbial life. The alignment has prompted speculation that the object's movement is influenced by interest in such regions rather than by gravitational coincidence. If true, Atlas may be conducting a form of remote observation or even biological analysis of ocean-bearing worlds within our system. Despite the numerous theories, the most widely accepted view in the scientific community remains cautious. Many experts emphasize that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and that several of Atlas's observed characteristics could still be explained by unknown but natural mechanisms. For instance, complex rotational dynamics, compositional anomalies, and heat emissions might all result from interactions between volatile materials and radiation in interstellar space. However, other researchers argue that the precision and coherence of the signals exceed the thresholds of known natural variability, implying a degree of structure or intent that challenges conventional astrophysics. The most provocative data came from a genetic modeling comparison conducted by a team at the California Institute of Technology. When the organic spectral patterns from 3I Atlas were compared with terrestrial genomic structures, researchers found statistical similarities in the organization of molecular sequences. These were not direct matches, but showed recurring patterns consistent with non-coding DNA arrangements found in ancient terrestrial life. The findings suggest that the molecular architecture of life might follow universal mathematical principles rather than being unique to Earth. This could imply that life, whether biological or synthetic, emerges from shared structural rules embedded in the physics of the universe. Taken together, the observations surrounding 3I Atlas raise fundamental questions about the nature of intelligence, the definition of life, and the boundaries of astrophysical science. The data indicate that the object emits controlled energy, follows a non-gravitational trajectory, contains materials of unknown origin, and displays patterns consistent with both engineered design and biological organization. None of these findings independently confirm the existence of extraterrestrial life or technology. However, their combination represents an anomaly that current models cannot easily reconcile. The James Webb Space Telescope continues to monitor 3I Atlas as it moves toward the outer regions of the solar system. Its signals have diminished, but faint periodic activity remain detectable. Whether the object is an unprecedented natural phenomenon or evidence of a non-terrestrial system remains undetermined. The discovery highlights the limitations of human understanding when confronted with data that do not fit established categories. It also reinforces the broader implication that life, intelligence, and structure in the universe may exist in forms that do not resemble those on Earth. As of now, 3I Atlas remains a scientifically unexplained object, one that has challenged assumptions about what is possible in interstellar space. The available data are factual but incomplete, and interpretation varies across institutions. What is certain is that Webb has captured the most detailed evidence yet of an interstellar object behaving in ways inconsistent with known natural processes. Whether future observations will reveal a purely physical explanation or confirm something more profound, the case of 3I Atlas represents a turning point in the ongoing study of the universe. It stands as a reminder that discovery often begins not with answers, but with anomalies that refuse to be ignored.